There is a river, the old proverb begins, whose surface shimmers with coins, but whose current carries away those who only look at the glitter. Welcome back to Hidden Blueprint. If you watched our last video, the one that traced the lost maps of kings and the secrets of ancient prosperity, you already know how the past often holds the keys to the present. That video reached farther than I expected. The wisdom you shared in the comments became a quiet reminder that some truths are ready when we are. Today, we go deeper. Have you ever wondered why some families, some people, some nations hold wealth for generations while others chase it their whole lives and never rest? Which forces quietly shape fortune and which habits quietly break it? By the time this audio ends, you will understand the eternal code of wealth, the old, sometimes forgotten principles that still rule the world. And more importantly, you will have concrete, simple moves to begin using them in your life, starting this week. Listen slowly. The road I describe is not the shortest road. It is the one that lasts. We begin with a truth that sounds like an old law, but acts like an operating system. Wealth is not merely what you have. It is the set of decisions and structures that make having, keeping, and growing possible. Imagine wealth as a house. Many people imagine wealth as the marble floors and the painted walls, visible, glittering, immediate. Few think about the foundation, the hidden beams, the drainage that keeps the walls from buckling in a storm. The eternal code is mostly foundation work. First rule of the code: what you are thinking controls what you are building. There is a strange economy inside your skull. It trades in images, stories, and promises. If you tell yourself money is scarce, the organisms of your behavior, fear, caution, reactivity, organize to make that story true. If you tell yourself money is a tool for value and responsibility, your habits, partnerships, and choices begin to move toward creation. It's not mystical, it's practical psychology. Your beliefs steer your attention, and your attention controls the tiny decisions that compound into a life. Ask yourself quietly, what is my story about money? Is it one of hunger, of luck, of corruption, or is it one of resource, stewardship, and possibility? This is not a sermon. It is an orientation. The ancients taught that a man who seeks a treasure without a map seeks only danger. Your map is the set of beliefs that guide the first step. Replace the map and your steps change. Now, practical work. Mindset without structure is wind. So rule 2 of the code: clarity precedes control. If you cannot name your flows of money, what comes in, what leaks, what sits, you do not control your life. The life of money controls you. Write it out. Every source of income, every recurring expense, every liability. Name them. When you set down the numbers, you remove illusion. Once the illusion is removed, strategy becomes possible. A small exercise. Tonight, take 10 minutes. Write down 3 truths about your financial life you have avoided. Then write 1 practical first action to address each truth. This is the seed of control. Now let us speak of the central movement in the code: pay yourself first. Sounds simple. It is. Many people earn, spend, then hope. They feed obligations before they feed their future. The blueprint flips this. When you commit to yourself first, a small automatic portion of your income that goes into saving or investing, you teach your entire system to adapt. You are, in effect, inserting a structural bias for your future self. It changes how you live in small, almost invisible ways. You start to view money through the lens of long-term identity rather than immediate impulses. This is not a philosophy of sacrifice. It is a design of identity. Over time, the person who pays themselves first becomes the person who expects to have capital, who learns to make it work. Action. Choose a percentage of your take-home pay and move it automatically out of sight into a place you cannot accidentally spend. Start small if you must. The size matters less than the system. We now reach a principle many forget. Not everything that shines is an asset. Some things only look like wealth. A new car, a designer logo, a large social media feed with no monetization. These are liabilities dressed as blessings. An asset in its truest form is anything that puts money into your hand over time. Machines that produce, properties that rent, investments that pay dividends, business models that deliver recurring revenue. A liability is anything that consistently takes money out. Heavy maintenance, insurance costs, constant upgrades, or simply a habit of buying the next flashy thing because others did. The Eternal Code asks us to see clearly. House for shelter, not for status. Car for transport, not for tribute. Before you buy, ask, will this increase my capacity to earn, protect, or compound wealth, or will it simply increase my cost of living? Don't confuse social signaling for financial strategy. The market of appearances is loud. The market of substance is quiet. Now hear this. Time is the silent ally of wealth when used rightly. Consistency beats flash. 100 small, disciplined actions become a mountain over years. One legendary investor said that while others seek speed, the wise seek duration. Compounding is not magic. It is the arithmetic of patience. There are no shortcuts around time, but there are ways to make time work for you. Regular, boring investing does more for most people than a few dramatic wins. Take regular investing. Even tiny amounts invested consistently will, by the slow miracle of time, grow into significant sums. Set up automated transfers. Reduce friction. Make the act of investing so easy even your busiest self cannot avoid it. But consistent investing will be undermined if debt gnaws at your future. The code does not tolerate cheap excuses for costly liabilities. High-interest debt is like a leak beneath your house. Subtle, eventually catastrophic. Prioritize eliminating the debts that charge you the most. Where possible, refinance. Where impossible, attack aggressively. Parallel to debt control is control of lifestyle creep. When income rises, many minds naturally expand comforts. The code asks a counterintuitive discipline. Remain content enough to direct surplus to productive uses, investments, businesses, emergency buffers, rather than letting every raise disappear into new monthly obligations. It's not about never enjoying life. It's about choosing which pleasures you buy and which investments you make in the future you want. Another principle that stands at the center of the Eternal Code is this: diversification of cash flows. The world is brittle. Jobs vanish, markets stumble, families are shaken. When your only source of income is a single desk, you are playing a dangerous game. The wise arrange multiple streams, not as a wild pursuit of complexity, but as deliberate redundancy. A consulting side, a digital product, rental income, dividends, a small business. Each stream reduces risk and creates optionality. Importantly, cash flow beats net worth when it comes to living security. A tally of assets on a sheet is a map. Cash that arrives monthly is the road that lets you live. Build cash-flowing assets first, then add appreciating, illiquid assets later. Do not reverse this unless you have a sound plan and emergency cushions. We must also speak of protection. Wealth can be made and then lost in a single event. Illness, legal surprise, political shock, or fraud. Insurance, good documentation, a basic estate plan, and simple legal structures are not for the wealthy only. They are for the responsible. A person with foresight creates cushions, emergency funds that cover months of living, protective legal layers that keep business and personal liability separate, and insurance that prevents a single catastrophe from erasing years of work. And there is a deeper layer, generational thinking. Building wealth for yourself is one thing, protecting and passing it on is another. The code values this long frame. Teach the next generation the disciplines you practice. Remove temptation by designing structures that make waste harder and stewardship easier. Rules, trusts, simple education, clear rituals of giving and saving. These are the scaffolding of intergenerational wealth. Now permit me a principle that seems surprising to transaction-focused minds. Generosity is an engine of wealth. In many ancient systems, wealth circulated. To hoard was to invite stagnation. To give away wisely was to open channels. This is not mystical. Generosity builds relationships, reputations, and a network of reciprocal goodwill. When you give with intention, you invest in social capital, a powerful form of wealth. Make space in your budget for giving. Small, regular acts of generosity shape identity and open unexpected doors. When you help someone genuinely, you often find that doors you never expected begin to open. The returns are not always monetary, but they compound in ways you can't forecast. Let us now take the code into the world where you live. A world of digital markets, fast opinion, and slow consequence. The modern landscape demands two additions to ancient rules: tech leverage and currency awareness. Technology is the new leverage. Access to a global market through a little device in your hand expands what a single person can do. A writer in Accra can sell books worldwide. An artisan in Kumasi can market beads to buyers across oceans. Leverage your skills with systems. Automate, delegate, sell digitally. Build products that scale, rather than labor that trades hours for money alone. But the modern era also brings new dangers: currency erosion, inflation, and the illusion of rapid wealth. If your local currency weakens, your stored cash can shrink in value while your costs rise. Diversify not only across asset classes, but across currency exposures where possible. Real assets, foreign-denominated investments, and goods that maintain value when paper loses it. Combine these with the old disciplines. Pay yourself first. Buy assets that produce cash flow, avoid high-interest debt, and build multiple income channels. The blend of ancient and modern is the most potent. Now, practical steps, a simple roadmap for the next 12 months that aligns with the eternal code. Week 1, mindset and audit. Spend an evening writing the story you tell about money. Then list every income source, every expense, every debt. This is not judgment, it is truth-telling. Month 1, begin paying yourself first. Automate a transfer. Even 5% is a beginning. Adjust as you learn what you can sustain. Month 2 to 3, attack the worst debts. Create a prioritized list by interest rate and balance. Pick the smallest high-rate item and commit to a payment plan that reduces it quickly. Month 4 to 6, start a side project that can become a second stream. Focus on what you can build with your existing skills and the tools you already have. Keep it small and teachable. The idea here is not to build an empire in 3 months, but to start something that can survive without you for a little while. Month 6 to 9. Build an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of basic living. Place it where you can access it, but not where you will spend it casually. Treat it like sacred ground. Month 9 to 12. Move money into a long-term, automated investment plan. Open or expand accounts that invest regularly in diversified assets, equity index funds, a business reinvestment plan, or a cash-flowing property if that fits your context. Repeat and refine. Measure every quarter. The code is about discipline, not punishment. Celebrate small wins. Debt paid off, a successful month of investing, the first rent from a property. These are anchors that keep you going. Throughout this journey, remember a subtle but crucial rule. Align your environment to your aims. Remove temptations. If you find that new salary raises are immediately spent, automate increases in your savings when your salary rises. Make the good choice, the easy default. Now, a word on the moral life of wealth. The eternal code is not amoral. Wealth disconnected from responsibility becomes brittle and dangerous. The truly wealthy safeguard dignity, protect the vulnerable, and use resources to amplify value. Ask yourself, how does my wealth serve a larger circle, family, community, environment? This question will keep you honest. A practical practice. Each year, allocate a small percentage of your income to something that builds others. Teaching, a small scholarship, a community project. Trace the outcomes. The habit trains character and produces returns that numbers cannot count. Let me tell a brief true-style story, not to moralize, but to illuminate. There was a trader who made a modest fortune dealing in textiles. His first impulse was to spread his good fortune on grand displays. Feasts, ornate houses, rapid expansions. Within 5 years, a storm in supply lines, a bad partner, and debt turned his fortune to sand. Another man in the same market, with half the initial gains, did differently. He kept his life simple, invested in small machines that reduced his costs, taught his children a trade, and set aside funds for dry seasons. When the same storm rose, the second man's systems absorbed it. Which of the two was richer? For a season the first glittered. In the long view, the second's wealth endured. This pattern repeats across time. Fortunes that are anchored in systems endure. Fortunes anchored in spectacle do not. We must also address a painful truth. Sometimes the system around you is hostile. Corruption, theft, and predatory practices can erode effort. The eternal code does not pretend the world is fair. It teaches resilience. When trust is weak, focus on reducing exposure to weak institutions. Diversify, strengthen legal protections, keep documentation, and transact with counterparts who have reputations to lose. Build small alliances of reliability, honest merchants, skilled lawyers, competent accountants. A network of trustworthy nodes is a lifeline. Now, for those listening who feel the weight of limited means or a history of scarcity, do not mistake the scale of your starting place for the limit of your potential. Small capital, when applied with discipline, compounds into meaningful agency. The problem is not starting small. It is starting without a plan. If you have little to invest today, invest in systems. Learning that raises your productivity, relationships that create opportunities, a side skill that can be monetized. These are high-return investments, often overlooked because they are invisible. Let us close the practical with a few hard but honest measures to adopt right now. 1. Never take interest-bearing debt for consumption. If you cannot pay cash, it is not an asset you need. 2. Make a simple budget and live beneath your means for at least 9 months. This creates a habit of surplus. 3. Automate investing. Remove human temptation. 4. Document decisions. Keep a record of every major financial choice and review it annually. You will learn faster from a decade of written choices than from a year of scattered trial and error. 5. Speak about money responsibly. Teach a child, a partner, a friend one principle each month. The act of teaching clarifies and anchors your own knowledge. Above all, practice patience. The code is patient work. The world will offer you quick routes that glitter as the river coins do. Most lead to short-lived triumphs. The path that lasts is quieter. It collects, it compounds, it cares. If you are building in a place where the political winds change or currencies wobble, remember the two most portable assets, knowledge and relationships. A sound skill and a trusted network travel across borders. Nourish them. They are your contingency plan. We are nearing the end of this long hour of listening, but the work begins now. Wealth, in the deepest sense, is the ability to make choices. The eternal code hands that ability back to you. Tune your beliefs. Clarify your situation. Pay yourself first. Buy real assets. Remove high-interest leaks. Diversify cash flows. Protect what you build. Use what you gain to serve beyond self. A final reflection. Money amplifies you. It magnifies the habits, the ethics, and the patterns you already contain. If you give to greed, you will have more greed. If you give to care, you will have more care. The code demands you decide the person you wish to be, not the person money tempts you to appear. Tonight, I offer one simple task. Take 10 minutes and write down the single action you will take tomorrow morning to honor one principle from this audio. Will you set up an automatic transfer? Will you list your liabilities? Will you refuse to buy one thing and instead invest that money? Choose one action and commit to it for 30 days. Hidden Blueprint is a place where we not only learn history and stories, but take small, faithful steps toward better lives. If this audio served you, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment. Which principle will you practice first? The conversation you start will become the habit that keeps you. Remember the proverb that began this journey. The river shimmers with coins, but those who only stare are swept away. Be the person who learns to read currents, who builds bridges, who stores grain for the dry season, and who plants a tree that their grandchildren will sit beneath. Go now. Start small. Build with discipline. Serve with what you create. That is the eternal code. Thank you for listening.